no filter, no filter. I swear I got no filter, no filter. I'm out of busted gear. I got no filter, no filter. I'm out of busted gear. You won't have no filter. You know I don't give a fuck. King bed in my pool.
Hello, Emai.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for making the time to see us.
Yeah.
We'll try to make this as quick as we can. We don't be keeping you for a while. Okay, so straight to it. You've been CEO for a year now.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
How do I feel? I feel terrible and stressed. I tell people that the day I got the job, I was excited. The next morning I woke up like 6 a.m., you know, like this, like almost like I had a nightmare. It's been a lot of responsibility, a lot of hard work. And if you want to do the music business properly in Nigeria, you have to understand that the industry, the government, and every other thing that makes up the ecosystem of music, they aren't conducive, and you're constantly swimming upstream. But if there was ever any job that I would have taken, you know, it would have been Chocolate City. It's definitely the best label Nigeria's had. It's the most passionate about music, and we have the best staff. We have the most know-how, and we're evolving and learning every day.
Okay, tell us exactly what the biggest challenge has been for you and how you overcame it, if you have.
Yeah, everything is a big challenge. Everything. At every point of music value chain, there's a problem, right? Something as simple as buying blank CDs in Nigeria and knowing that 3 out of every 10 are probably going to be bad, right? You think about that. Or buying equipment for a studio, or cables, or electric fixtures, and electricity going off and on at every point. And then you have macro problems, policies that aren't helping our industry, dealing with, from the aggregators to the telecom guys. There's some telecom guys that just don't pay. There are some that do pay but are very strict on their policies, and so at every point of the music business, there's challenges. Me personally, maybe the biggest challenge I faced has been maybe just me personally, my personal development in terms of all the things I needed to learn for leadership. So you take it for granted that when you're in that role, but you have a lot of personal development that you have to do, and maybe that's the biggest challenge for me. And the biggest, I say that because I'm learning, I'm evolving every day. I have a great team, that's always teaching me. But yeah, maybe that's it. But there are challenges everywhere.
So how are you improving yourself as a leader?
Man, I mean, you have to read a lot. You have to surround yourself with people that can, always give you advice and point you in the right direction. And that's, again, why I say Chocolate City is the best label. We're labeled with a proper board, So once every 4 months, I'll be in a meeting with Hakim Bello Sage, who's an amazing business mind, right? And I'll get maybe 3 questions to ask him, and his answers. I remember the first time we met and sat down, I asked him 1 question, and his answer was just amazing. And then under that, you have Yahya Mikori, he's owner of Law Alliance, an established lawyer. Audu Mekori, owner, and CEO of Chocolate City Group. Paul Okugo, and then Onche Babe. Like, we have a proper team where I can go to for help. There's Eric Idiahi from Spin Led and people like that that I can always go to for advice too. And then personal development. But the most important thing I find is listening to the people that work under me, and giving them a challenge, giving them a task, coming back after a month or 2 months and listening to them and hearing their feedback. And so earlier today, I was in a very interesting conversation with business development and promotions, and I was just learning. I was sitting there and just learning. At the end of the day, the decisions are mine. I have to be decisive, but I was just listening and learning to the actual, on the ground feedback from the soldiers. So the general can postulate. You can read all these books about warfare, but the soldier on the ground will have more information for you And but these are various ways I try to improve myself every day.
Okay, so what have you learned from being an executive that has impacted on how you create music today?
That's a good question. I think that the tools, the personal tools necessary to be an executive, and my team will probably disagree with me on this because I've made much less music, as CEO than I should have. But I think being able to hone into a task and deliver it, being able to, start and finish an idea, within a limited amount of time, and setting your timelines and objectives and all that. And then also learning how to work with other people easier. So I've always, up until Chairman album, I've always made my music myself. Mixing, mastering, maybe I'd give someone to master, but the final mix and everything would come from me, from my studio, my computer. Now I'm a lot more, I'll do my voicing, I'll bring an engineer on. And because again, as an executive, you realize that, when it comes to dealing with artists, I have to hand off to an A&R. When it comes to promotions, I'm never gonna know radio people as well as the promotions guys. So, you trust your team to deliver.
How would you describe your leadership style? Are you autocratic? Are you democratic? Or just laissez-faire? Which is it?
There are things you have to be democratic on, especially within your team. You have to be very democratic. Yeah. With artists, there's a time when democracy stops and the decision needs to be made. Again, on the business development side, when money comes in, there's a time where, again, democracy as a leadership style, isn't very applicable. But you have to be an amoeba and adopt different shapes at different times. But the biggest thing you can take from democracy is that it's government by the people, for the people, right? And in leadership, when you make a decision for the artist, you're not making it for the label, you're making it for the artist. When you make a decision for promotions, for instance, I'm not making it for radio or for the people that they're promoting to, but I'm making it for my staff and for my product, right? And having a democratic disposition to feedback and to listening to your staff is very important. No matter whether you're making, a decision that no one is going to agree with, or feedback is very important. And I think that aspect of democracy is very important throughout any type of leadership.
I see. So you have to combine both. There are times you're democratic, and there are other times that you have to stand up as a CEO. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. So every business has to deal with personal living at some point or the other. And the last one here, have you had such, and how did you handle it?
Personal living? Yeah, of course. I mean, one of our biggest and best staff from our promotions department left. And again, these are some of the macro challenges that, a label like Chocolate City is dealing with now that, we firmly believe we're ahead of the curve. How do you retain knowledge and store knowledge so that when a good staff leaves, somebody else can take over their job? And the guys that are there now are doing an amazing job in promotions but even artists too. I'm sure that when people think of a label, 90% of the time they're just thinking about artists, and so artists do leave, come and go. And I think when an artist leaves, it's easier because you're prepared. You know what's coming, you wind down to it. It's never a 1 week process. It's always, 3, 4, 5 months of preparation. So that's easier. But the team has to move on and has to grow, and we're equipped for those. We've been through 11 years, managing Chocolate City, and I've been part of Chocolate City for 9 years now. And the cast that I entered with into Chocolate City, I was the only person that survived 3 years later. And I'm still here. A lot of people have come and gone. Some people, the general public don't even have an idea that they were signed. People were signed Chocolate City and were let go, their contracts were let go. There are people that like Ice Prince, and just starting their own labels, and that's a different sort of arrangement. But they both served the label admirably. I was looking at Ice Prince's initial contract and all his achievements, and here's an artist who did everything that his contract said, his initial contract said. He recorded all the albums he was supposed to, you know, everything, an exemplary artist. And at the time he was ready to start his own platform, we had that conversation, you know, and so you deal with that as it comes, you know, and you know, I think the important thing for the music business is that the labels have to keep going. Some years you're going to be seen as the best. Some years you're not going to be the most popular. People are going to, you know, have their opinions about you. But the business of labeling must go on, because it's important for the one artist who's very talented, who has the music, has the drive, has the brand, but doesn't know what to do. You know, labels stand in the gap.